The Buffalo Bills seasons in recent years have ended in heartbreaking fashion, and when I say heartbreaking fashion, I mean like devastating fashion in the playoffs. Seasons have ended a ton recently due to just devastating things happening in the playoffs or not playing up to par as the way they're supposed to play, but they just can't seem to get it done in the playoffs. And I'm gonna be so honest with you guys, they're running out of time. The clock is ticking for the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen's just gonna get older and older as this continues, and you know what, eventually Josh Allen's gonna get fed up with all this. I mean, right? So it's only right to say the Buffalo Bills are running out of time because we don't know what the future holds for them, but all I know is they got to do something, and they got to do something fast, and I'm not so sure if they're going to be able to go ahead and fix what is wrong with this team truly. So that's what I'm here to talk about on today's video. I'm just explaining how the Buffalo Bills are running out of time. I'm going to talk about the future, what this team's outlook looks like going into this year. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe, all my socials in the description, follow all of them. I would very much appreciate it, and let's get straight into the vid. So to talk about the state that the Buffalo Bills are currently in, I'm going to talk about how last season went from them, because of course, if you don't know, a lot of stuff happened for the Buffalo Bills last year, and I think they explain the full story of what they are right now and what they're currently look like. I gotta talk about what happened last year because that was a story in itself. Okay, so the Bills start off with the season with a loss to the New York Jets, and you know, Aaron Rodgers got hurt in the game. They start off lose to them. Josh Allen throws 3 interceptions. He looks terrible, and you know, they get to mid-season, they go 5-5, and I think the last straw with the Bills knowing they need to do something is after they lose to the Denver Broncos on Monday Night Football. If you remember that game, yeah, they lost to a field goal, and you know, when you lose to the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson, a team hasn't been so good and you're 5-5, you know, it's time to make a change, and you know, that's what they went ahead and did. The Bills are like, Kent Dorsey, you gotta go. The offense isn't looking like the same as it used to be. It's clearly not working no more. We need a change. The offense has been struggling all year. Kent Dorsey, goodbye. Joe Brady becomes the interim, and this guy has a whole new ball game for this Buffalo Bills offense, and it actually works out and everything goes well. The biggest thing in the Joe Brady offense is he starts to run the ball a ton more with James Cook. As you can see before, there would be games where James Cook had 5 rushing attempts, but there would also be games where James Cook get used a lot. To this game, the Bills would be way more conservative with the ball. They would rush the ball a lot. They would use their backup running backs a lot. Josh Allen would run the ball. Instead of passing it 92 times a game, they would basically make sure they're being conservative. Start running the ball more. Start playing it safer a little bit. And it really started to work out. You can tell because the Buffalo Bills started to win football games. I mean, the energy changed. After that Broncos game, they'd go ahead and dominate the New York Jets. They would lose an overtime thriller versus Philadelphia, but you know what? I'll give them a pass because that's when the Eagles were cooking. They'd beat Kansas City. They destroyed Dallas. They beat the Chargers, beat New England, and beat Miami in the last game of the season to go ahead, win the division, make the playoffs, and play the Pittsburgh Steelers in a wild card round. Everything looked like it was clicking in Buffalo all of a sudden. It looked like everything just all of a sudden turned around. It looked like they made the move that was going to be the right move, and now everything's looking great. Go ahead, dominate the Pittsburgh Steelers in a wild card game, because let's be real. The Steelers weren't going to do nothing. Let's be real. And then they would get to the game in the divisional round versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Now we're like, wow, they can't lose to the Chiefs 3 times in a row. They already lost an AFC championship. They lost in divisional. There is no way they lose 3 times in a row in the playoffs. There's no way. This loss, honestly, is on this Buffalo Bill team. First off, that fake punt to Damar Hamlin was the most dumbest thing I've ever saw. That is on Sean McDermott. Why on God's green earth are we running a fake punt with Damar Hamlin in the 4th quarter when the game's on the line? That is stupid, and don't ever do anything like that ever again. Also, Stephon Diggs, he just forgot how to catch the football a whole bunch of times, man. This man was the miracle dropper, especially on this play right here. How do you drop the ball? You get 8 targets in this game, and you get 3 receptions for 21 yards. That is just disappointing. And then, of course, the ending at the game when Tyler Bass missed the kick, you know, that was just the nail in the coffin. But I wouldn't put this loss on Tyler Bass. Yes, he was supposed to make it, but let's be real. Knowing the Kansas City Chiefs, they would have drove down the field, kicked a field goal, won the game. We know how that story goes with Mahomes. So now we're at a point where the Buffalo Bills just ended the season tragically. After everything was clicking all of a sudden, looked like they were about to go to the AFC Championship game. Tragically ends just like that to Kansas City once again. They're in a position right now where things are not looking good at all. To start off, we got to talk about one of the Buffalo Bills' biggest losses this offseason being Stephon Diggs. We've seen the chronicles in the offseason that when they lose, he throws a little bit of a temper tantrum, doesn't show up to training camp, misses stuff, and then I guess this loss was the final straw for him. Especially after all the criticism he received for dropping a lot of balls in Kansas City, I think a lot of people assumed that he was to blame. I mean, if you would have got 8 balls thrown at you and you only caught 3, I'd be kind of mad too if I was, you know, the Buffalo organization and around Buffalo. So he had enough of that. He was like, I'm out of here, guys, and he forced himself a trade to the Houston Texans, which made, man, gonna have very much fun in Houston. CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, man, that team is stacked. But this isn't a video about the Texans. It's one about the Bills. Top target that's been there for so many years now. Like, I think it's year 4. That would have been year 5 for Stephon Diggs. I don't know exactly. But he was the top target for Josh Allen. He's consistently been that, and now he's gone. And they also lost their wide receiver 2, Gabe Davis, who has been the wide receiver 2 there. The deep threat, the guy who's always going to get the ball deep. They went ahead, lost him free agency. He went ahead and moved on to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the top 2 wide receivers, top 2 targets for Josh Allen gone. one offseason, just like that. Gone, history, goodbye. Also, you guys remember Joy Poyer and Micah Hyde, two people that have been the Buffalo secondary for a hot minute now. You know, they've been the two safeties. They've been there. They've killed it as the safeties. They have had some injury concerns, but you know, they have been the safeties in Buffalo. Everybody knows who those two guys are. You know what? Both of them gone this offseason. Gone. So yeah, currently as it's looking right now, Buffalo's starting safety are Damar Hamlin and Christian Brentford. How do you guys go from Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer to Damar Hamlin as your starting safety? Now, of course, everyone knows the Damar Hamlin story. No hate towards him. But if you've seen him on the field, he isn't that good. And now he's the Buffalo Bills starting safety. This just doesn't sound right, man. It sounds like barbecue chicken. And then, of course, the Bills also have a new starting center this year. Mitch Morse is gone, and now the new starting center is your boy Connor McGovern. He was already on this Buffalo offensive line. He actually played left guard, but now he's going to be the starting center for Josh Allen this season. So this Buffalo team, well, it's looking kind of different. There's some new pieces on here, and there's a lot of young bucks on here too. It's not what it used to be. I mean, the wide receiver room currently, well, it's Khalil Shakir, the guy who they just drafted, Keon Coleman, which he's not a nice piece, Curtis Samuel, Matt Collins, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. This wide receiver room looks insanely different. Me personally, I'm a huge fan of Khalil Shakir. I think he's going to have a great season. I feel like he's going to be the wide receiver one on Buffalo. He's one of my sleepers in fantasy football. Huge Shakir fan. I think Keenan Coleman can also be a nice piece, but you guys get what I'm saying. This wide receiver room is not what it used to be whatsoever. James Cook is probably going to have a massive season as well. And well, here's the thing. When you lose a lot of the veteran players and a lot of players that have been here, you know, Buffalo needed a change, right? They needed something to go ahead and, you know, make it so they get over the hump finally. But low-key, this kind of feels like they're going backwards. And I know some people say you got to go backwards sometimes before you can go forwards, but like, man, this is going backwards a lot. And I know they really didn't have a choice because of some cap issues and some things like that, but it's like, dude, Josh Allen is currently 28 years old, dude. He's gonna be 30 in 2 years. They gotta figure it out. I'm not saying Josh Allen's gonna do anything crazy like request a trade after his contract or something like that, but who really knows? I don't think it will happen. I think Allen's gonna be a Bill for life, but genuinely, who knows? He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. In my opinion, he's a top 3 quarterback in the league. He has an insane arm. He has great rushing ability. Sometimes he gets a little hectic with turning over the ball, which I think he needs to shut that down. But the Buffalo Bills are running out of time, dude. Look at all the moves they've made. They're looking like they're going backwards. And that's not only that the fact that, you know, their team looks weaker. Now is not the time for your team to get weaker. If you look at the Buffalo Bills division, Miami, they look like, you know, the same team they were last year. They look a little bit better. The New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers is healthy this year. Him and Garrett Wilson, you know, this stacked Jets team, you know, last year Rodgers was hurt. So last year, you know, they wasn't able to worry about the Jets. Now you got to worry about the Jets. Those are two tough teams that are going to be in the division. The Patriots, man, you ain't got to worry about them. They rebuild and let them do their thing. But like, two hard teams in your division that you're going to have to battle for if you want to win the division, that's going to be tough. And it ain't just that. They're in the AFC. Cincinnati, Baltimore, Kansas City, Houston, Indianapolis. I could go on and on and on about good teams in the AFC. Only 7 teams make the playoffs. Only 7 teams out of the 16 teams in the AFC make the playoffs. Buffalo might be a team that misses out this year just because their roster isn't like, I don't want to say it's a bad roster. It's just not up to par with the rest of the AFC. Now, what I would say is before the season started, which I'm going to do my preseason picks, like, you know, before the season starts for predictions and everything, I might pick Josh Allen to win MVP just because if the Bills do make playoffs, it's single-handedly going to be because of him. He's going to have to put the team on his back. I genuinely think if the Bills make the playoffs this year, Josh Allen should be MVP of the league. Because like I said, if they make the playoffs, it's going to be because of him. It's because he got that dog in him. He's going to have that mentality. He's going to have to just like carry him and James Cook and Shakir. And Dalton Kincaid is there too. Don't forget about my boy Dalton Kincaid. I think the offense is really going to get carried by Josh Allen, James Cook, Shakir, and Dalton Kincaid. I feel like those are going to be the 4 main pieces that they use on offense, all right? But I don't think it's a bad thing to say that the Bills are running out of time. They got to figure it out. They're in a hard AFC division. They need to just start putting some things together. They need to start doing it quickly. Next offseason, depending on what they do, they need to look at all their problems, go ahead, boom, 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 bam, 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 fix them up. Because I ain't going to lie, if the Bills don't make the playoffs this year, Sean McDermott, yeah, time is ticking. I see a lot of Bill fans complaining about him, and I'm not gonna lie to you, Sean McDermott. If you guys miss the playoffs this year, I think Sean McDermott's gonna get fired. If they start off bad this year, Sean McDermott's gonna get fired. I know he's a good coach, but I think the time's starting to tick. They gotta figure out, make some kind of huge change if things still don't work out. Like, the time's ticking for the Buffalo Bills. The time is in the background. Ain't to go ahead and worry about it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe. This is my breakdown of the Buffalo Bills and why they're running out of time. If you enjoyed, drop a like and subscribe. It's very much appreciated. And I will see you guys with the VX video coming out in very, 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 very soon.